Hi, team. Welcome to the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Coming up, the producer live stream. But first, a couple bits of news and a shout out to our guild Alea Yacta Est on Jedi Covenant. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 126, who smells bad on the outside and is lukewarm on the inside. No, buddy, you don't actually smell bad. And yes, you do need to get in that escape pod. With me, as always, is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey Max, going pretty well. We just finished our ops night, which was fun. We did something we don't do a lot of, which was we switched to alts after we did a run of heroic Eternity Vault. Everyone switched to alts, and we did most of the instance again. So that was pretty fun. I was trying to remember how to play my Sork, and I was remembering like one new ability after every pull. I'm like, oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, I have that. Oh yeah. But during the week, I'm still playing around with the planetary heroics and working on my version of the spreadsheet
Oh, good. We
and
need
taking
to.
notes on, how the amount of credits and which ones are quick and which ones have a bonus, and is the bonus worth doing, or do you need to kill everyone before you kill something else? Because I hate it when you kill 15 out of 16 and then the bonus goes away because you killed a champ.
Yeah.
So, yep, been working on that. And, yeah, just pretty much fun. How about
Awesome.
you, Max?
I did have fun in hard mode Eternity Vault also. We're doing hard mode Eternity Vault because it's the featured ops of the week. That means 224 gear was dropping. So that's why we switched over and
Yes.
started doing it on alts as well. I think our other ops team did that 2 or 3 times this week also. So we got some 224s. We got some gear done in general. You know what I did last night? I did some GSF.
I heard a rumor to that effect.
I was talking about it earlier. I had to go into the tutorial to remind myself of how it worked. I had to remind myself what the controls were. I didn't remember which buttons to press because there's quite a few controls if you're going to do it right. But I got into it. I played my gunship some, just couple matches. The queue popped relatively quickly, so maybe I'll get back into a little GSF. Nothing's new, but it was still fun to remember that it's there and still something to do. But with that, we do actually, even though we're recording on an early night this week because things are going to be crazy for us over the weekend on Monday, the podcast will still come out on the normal time, but we're recording early, only a couple days after the last recording. We do have news, so let's go through that news.
Yes, we do.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
So 4.0.4 patch did go live relatively. Not much happened with it. It was just mostly to fix the events and make sure that they were going to be lined up and a couple other minor things. But that looks good.
And the GTN search is reportedly fixed now. If that's true, I'm impressed, because basically BioWare said, please everyone check, see what you're not finding, and people did and responded, and they used that info to fix a problem later that day or Wednesday. So that was some real-time stuff happening there, and players being useful. So that was good.
Yes.
There still are reported problems, I guess, with Xeno Analyst lockouts. That's the Lair boss in the Gree event. And the Conquest Titles and Rewards problems that was reported this week is also being fixed, according to the live stream, via a script that'll be running over the next couple of days. So by the time you hear this, you should have all your Conquest stuff that you didn't get immediately.
Yes, you should. Also, we had a producer live stream today, and that's obviously going to be the focus of our podcast segment today. But you might also want to take a look in the forums, and Eric Musco promised to, after each of these live streams that they do, post a summary thread with all the main bullet points and details that they went over, which he did right away, and provided an opportunity for people to continue to ask questions, or mostly just post in there about how much they hate everything that BioWare is doing. So go ahead and do that. And they also posted a second thread because there was discussion about the Eternal Championship, which is that arena that's going to be coming with Chapter 11 that we'll talk about. But they're asking for feedback on the design for what they've got going on with the Eternal Championship. So you'll be able to look at that as well.
In events this week, by the time you hear this, probably just finishing up, Relics of the Gree. The following event week, starting on January 19th, we will see a resurgence of the Rackle Resurgence. And then after that, the following week, Bounty Contract Week.
Yes. In Guild and Community news, PAX South is coming up, and our pals at the Bad Feeling podcast are going to have a cantina down there. I think we mentioned this last week, but I have a little promo from Chuck and Brian that I'm going to play now. Ready? You ready, Seema?
Ready.
I'm sorry, do I need to do ready check? You ready?
Oh my God.
All right, here we go.
An event like no other, the Bad Feeling Cantina at PAX South. The utmost baddest feeling event ever that's ever been bad felt about. Something like that. Sure. That's right, gang. Come join us in beautiful San Antonio. We'll be holding our own cantina event during PAX South. Join us at the Republic of Texas restaurant on Saturday the 30th. From 8 to midnight, we'll be hanging out. There will be beer. There will be prizes. There will be beard hair. Maybe even my PV penis.
Oh, no.
I got a bad feeling about this cantina.
All right. Thanks, Chuck, for giving us an NSFW rating for this episode.
That sounds like so much fun if you have any chance to go. And San Antonio is a cool town, too. So just
Yeah.
hope you can make it.
I would, if I could, I would, but I can't, so
Yeah,
I won't.
same here.
But yeah, it would be great to hang out with those guys. Also in community news, our Soldier of Light Ops team, the Republic team, on Monday nights is still looking for a couple people, I think. In the last day, they're still looking for another person or two. Check that out in the forums. I wanted to call out, just for fun, we've talked back and forth with a lot of other guilds and some of the other podcasters. We were looking for a replacement for Plug DJ. We tried some things out. We've sort of settled on, and a lot of people have settled on from plug.dj onto dubtrack.fm. Takes a little bit to figure out the interface, but it does pretty much everything that plug.dj did. So we're using now dubtrack.fm to share playlists and have sort of that joint party music room playing the videos off of YouTube. And that is fun.
Yeah.
AIE in SWTOR, our guild is going to have our 4th anniversary party on January 26th. We usually do an anniversary party for the guild. I'm going to post probably tomorrow, probably in the next few days in the forums, a post with the agenda. It'll be on our regular mandatory fun night. It'll be from 8 to 10 Central, and we'll do some standard guild fun things. So if you want to come join and jump in on that, be sure you check that out and check that out in the forums. And to anyone not yet in Alea Iacta Est, our guild's always looking for new members on the server Jedi Covenant. Our parent community, the larger Alea Iacta Est guild, is one of those very large, family-friendly, multi-game guilds. We've got a solid guild in Star Wars: The Old Republic on both the Republic and Imperial sides. Guild info can be found on aie-guild.org, and you can catch officers in-game with a /cjoin AIE LFO. And certainly, shout out to the chat room. We've got a handful of people in there. We shook it up, and we're doing it on a little bit of a weird night, but I see some of the usual suspects in there. Great to have you guys in there. We're already been tossing some notes back and forth. SWTOR Ethcom was helping us out and making sure our notes were straight for the producer
Accurate.
live stream segment. I hear they've changed some things in the upcoming chapters.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Little bit of an altered deal, and we'll talk about that in with crafting in particular. But we did have the producer live stream. It was pretty interesting. We can talk about our general comments, and then we can go through the notes. I took a couple screenshots that I'll show in the video here, but of the slide deck that they were using to go over their notes. So overall, they broke it up into 6 parts. They talked about the state of the galaxy. That's sort of just their general commentary on what's going on. Then they talked about changes that they've got going on, specifically what's going to be changes in what they announced last time, and that's not going to work out exactly as they thought. What's happening with Chapter 10, Anarchy in Paradise. They did talk a little bit about the new Warzone. They talked about the internal championship, which is that arena that we were talking about, a little bit of an event that they're adding, or another mini game that they're adding to Chapter 11 at this point, and we'll talk about why that happened. And then a summary wrap-up. And it was Ben Irving, one of the producers, and Eric Musco who ran the stream. So what do you think of it overall, Seema? Just your general impression of the stream.
I think it's a very positive move on BioWare's behalf to set up a regular opportunity for communication. Even if what they say is not what we want to hear, or even if they just say more information later, I applaud them giving us the info that they have. So thumbs up from me.
Yes. We'll talk about specifically the information. It seems most of the commentary, and this is just the people that happen to be commenting, and the people that are not as happy might be the ones that are commenting first. But on Reddit and on the forums, in general, there was a great deal of disappointment in the general immediate commentary, because certain things that each person wanted to hear didn't show up in this particular live stream. PvE content, PvP content coming out, yesterday, those things didn't happen. They don't have new ops on the calendar. They didn't have new news. They didn't say we're coming out with an ops next week. Yeah, there is some certainly reason to be disappointed about that. But as Seema said, I'm glad at least that they're communicating, and they're setting up a regular cadence on this. We'll be getting sort of 2 of these a month, one focused on story and one focused on the producer messaging about what content is being created how. So great. I hope they continue that cadence, and they deliver from a communication perspective, and that will help to set expectations a little bit better than they have in the past. So let's go through some of what we heard so far in the State of the Galaxy. So they did bring up, and they did say, hey, we get it. We hear there's feedback. People are interested and want group content. We really focused our group content, our quote-unquote group content, on revamped heroics, the updated operations, the bolster, making all of that old content relevant with, up-to-date rewards. They get that people want new group content added to the game. They said they have discussions going on about it, but nothing to announce. So, what was your impression of that part of it, Seema?
I think that I got the feeling that from
I can't hear you, Seema.
Oh, hang on 1 second. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Sorry, I had a coughing attack earlier, and I muted blah blah. Anyway, starting over. I got the feeling that the way they look at group content is that they have a wide array of group content, and that most players are faced with this panoply of group content, and then there's a small number of players who've been playing it all along that are dissatisfied. And yes, we do understand, and we do think it's a fair point, and we are going to do something for you small number of players. There doesn't seem to be like the same emotional charge that the players who talk about it with. So I hope they're right. I hope they're right that there's a lot of people that are just completely happy with the group content.
Yeah, I don't know. I think again a lot of the faithful MMO hardcore, and by hardcore I mean medium core, because the hardest of hardcore left, but would have left anyway, and they leave every game.
Yeah.
Right away they left WoW after, Wrath or whatever. traditional MMO players want the group content. They want the new raids. They want the new operations. I hear that. I feel it myself. So yes, I hope they're thinking hard about it, and I hope they're weighing all aspects of it, and they do get back to that piece of it relatively quickly.
I mean, I'm interested in the Eternal Championship, but you have to ask why they're doing that instead of doing an op.
Yeah, that's a sideshow, and I would say that should be happening in addition. That should not be happening instead of, certainly.
I'm all for any kind of mini game type content, and by mini game I mean an activity to do in the game. I don't mean Pazak or something. I mean like crafting, and they're working on crafting and the Eternal Championship and the planetary heroics and the Star Fortress. There is a lot of stuff out there. So, yeah.
Yep. Okay, what else did they give us the general state of the galaxy message on?
They did say that the GTN search, all the bugs that they were experiencing with GTN search should be fixed as of yesterday, meaning Wednesday. And so that's good news. I hope I personally didn't help out in that effort, so I don't have anything to go verify and check, but I believe them.
It seems to me that they did it without a server reboot even, because the servers came up on Tuesday. They figured something out relatively quickly, and then suddenly it was fixed.
Right.
I think
They
somebody
were able
did something.
To figure out what was happening. Yeah.
I think somebody
I
broke
think that
something obvious.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they found
and
it.
they're like, oh, there it
Nope.
is. Doink. Okay, it's fixed now.
I deleted that index. Let me recreate that index in the database. Oh, look.
Yeah.
It works. Also, they talked about the Guild Conquest rewards. They're fixing those. Cartel market. They brought up the cartel market. There's been a lot of feedback about the cartel market. It must be the bronze, silver, gold packs that they're getting feedback on. I don't know. Is anybody really talking too much about lots of feedback on cartel market?
I just have to say my feedback about the cartel market right now is I find it a little bit. I mean, I don't pay good attention. I don't focus on it, but I'm confused about what's out there. So, and now
Maybe.
I feel like that's fine because it's going to change again anyway. So,
Right.
I'm looking forward to the changes.
Yeah.
We'll see what they are.
And finally, they're confirming that the new chapter should be coming out every 4 weeks, and they're going to want to continue to do that. So that was one of my predictions for the year.
Yes, you're right. You did predict that. And they said they actually corrected themselves. They said, once a month, and they said actually every 4 weeks.
Wait, that can't. No, the new. I thought you had to subscribe by the first of the month to get the early access by the 2 days before. So it would have to be once a month and not every 4 weeks.
Well, for this comment, the context of it was it's only through chapter 16. So maybe they looked at the months and that's what it works out to.
That's lies,
Okay.
because
But
it's
they-
even a leap year.
did
So
say
there's not one single month that has only 28 days, although they do all have 28 days. But none of the months have only 28 days. No month this year has.
Right, but over the
4
course of
weeks.
6 months, it's probably still going to work out, is what I'm saying. It's like it's like that fourth week isn't going to come so much earlier each month because it's only 6 months or 6 chapters. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they did say it every 4 weeks.
Yeah, we'll still lose. I mean, we'll still lose a week by the 6th, by the 6th month. So
But it will still be in the 6th month, is what I'm saying.
I don't think it will. I think every 4 weeks we'll put the 6th update. Because if you think, well, we don't need to do that. 31 days is
right
3.
now.
I mean, you could have 3 extra days. So in 2 months, you could lose a week. So just in 2 months. So over the course of 5 months, you will certainly lose a week. And you will have 2 updates within 1 calendar month, if that's how they're going to do it, which maybe they will. So they did go over this this whole deal of what the changes are since last stream. And what they meant by that, what it seemed to me, is we thought it was going to work out like this, but we're slipping something that we said was coming out. We wanted to give you an update. So, okay. It's still the chapters once a month or however they're coming out. The key thing that's slipping, though, is the Eternal Championship, and Bodar is tied to that. That's how Bodar works. That's slipping to Chapter 11. They're not ready with that. They're not done making that. And instead, it sounded like they're pulling in Blizz into Chapter 10 as being the companion with his little story that you can go get. I bet it's going to be pretty minimal in terms of what you need to do to go get him, compared to Bodar and the Eternal Championship.
Wookiee companion from the Scoundrel.
Right. So
I think it's going to be. I think you're going to have to. I think you're going to have to win 10 Eternal Championships to get Bodar.
I think, maybe not. Maybe get to rank 5. Get to rank round 5. So let's. We'll talk more about the Eternal Championship. That was their last thing, so we'll get to a whole slide on that. They also brought up Chapter 10. I don't know why they don't just say Kaleo.
Wait, before we leave this.
Yep.
Because Bodar isn't going to make it, they moved up Blizz.
Yeah.
So Blizz will be in the Chapter 10.
Yeah. And we will, and I was saying, I think that the whole thing around Blizz is probably going to be much smaller. It's not going to be a whole event like it will be with Bodar.
Okay. I thought you were still talking about Bodar when you said that.
No.
Sorry.
I don't. They keep saying this. Anytime they say Chapter 10, they say recruit a dangerous ally. But they show the picture of Kaleo right there, and they have her in every trailer, and they call her the Firebrand. Why don't they just say recruit Kaleo?
I don't know.
I feel like that's just like, oh well, spoilers, and like originally they wanted to say it that way, so it wasn't a spoiler. But Kaleo's in the story in Chapter 11. We've seen it 50 times at this point. It's, there she is on the screen. But that is coming on February 11th. We will be able to continue the story on February 11th. You have to be subscribed by February 1st to be able to get the 2 days of early access. We'll get to recruit this dangerous ally, and they reinforce this whole idea about decisions, and we'll, in theory, be seeing within this Chapter 10 the whole idea of at least one of the decisions by the end of Chapter 10 having some sort of major consequence.
Right. And they did say another decision will have consequences further down the road.
Yes. And so you won't know what that is. So one thing will at least be obvious that choices matter. They spent a little time on Blizz, and we'll get to meet Blizz and his all-new Java crew. And this is one point, I mostly just skimmed the stream and I dug into the notes and I skipped back and forth some. But this was a point in the stream where I noticed Ben Irving sort of real things back in from a hype perspective. Because Eric almost slipped into Blizz and his Java crew, that's going to be so epic. And Ben reeled it back in just a little bit, and he said, I think we'll let the players decide whether or not it's actually epic, and why don't we just leave it at that?
I think that is a welcome voice. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked him in general. I liked his perspective. I liked how he described things, and just his emotion around it seemed reasonable. And he seemed very adult.
Right. And when he didn't know something, this is one thing I appreciate. When he didn't know something, he said, I don't know. I'll find out.
Right. In fact, they did end up pulling someone from another room to answer one of the questions, which was
they did.
About...
Do you have to do...
Yeah.
Do you have to do the story to play the Eternal Championship?
And for that they said
and you do.
yes, at least through Chapter 9. maybe you don't have to finish chapter 10, but you do have to finish chapter 9.
Yeah.
So there's that. What else did they go through? They talked about,
Well,
yes,
crafting. That's like, that was a total surprise to me. I mean, maybe they've been data mining this stuff, but yeah, crafting changes. And not minor either.
no, so I looked through the notes. You listened to it more than I did. Why don't you walk us through what we know so far? Obviously, they're going to be giving us a lot more information in the coming weeks, but what do we know so far?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a skill increase from 500 to 550. They did mention new craftable gear, including an old appearance that'll be coming back, the War Hero stuff, which they mentioned was, due to popularity or mini requests or whatever. Also, even new materials. And I'm excited about this mission reorganization because they did some good work on the mission reorganization, but it could use some more. So I like that. Yeah, and that's all they had really. They had like a very high level, these are the things we're looking at. And then they are planning on a very detailed post coming before the end of January on the forums that will go into each of these things in a lot more detail. They did make the comment that it's going to affect the current augment kits, the MK8, for instance, that everybody has in their gear already. But they didn't say how, and I don't think it's going to be anything like... I don't think it's going to be something simple like, yes, we're going to have MK9 and everyone's going to need new augment kits. I don't think it's going to be like that, but we'll see, I guess.
So that was interesting. I just now caught, I heard that in the stream, but I sort of glossed over it, which was the whole idea of the War Hero gear being a schematic that you potentially be able to make again.
Yeah.
That...
How do you feel about that?
It disturbs me just a little bit.
I was wondering if it would.
Because I have the War Hero schematic on my armor mech. And that's the War Hero set is the sets I wear often on my mercenary and my trooper. And it's really rare and it's cool. And I have that schematic because at one point in the game, you could get that schematic by doing a lot of PvP and turning in commendations to get the schematics. And then they left the game and they gave us warning and we had to get it in time. And so I can make the Battle Master and I can make the War Hero. And when you put it on a trooper, it shows up like the trooper War Hero. When you put it on a mercenary, it shows up like the mercenary or power tech. When you put it on a bounty hunter versus a trooper. But yeah, now it's not going to be. I'm not going to be special anymore.
Well, I wonder if it's going to be different though.
Not if it's the War Hero gear. There's only one the War Hero gear. I don't know. Maybe. So, like you, mission reorganization, that sounds fine to me. Some new craftable gear and mods, that sounds fine to me. Skill increase to 550 for no particular reason and new materials being added to the game, that doesn't sound fine to me. I mean, I don't really see the use in that or why they're bothering to do that, and now I gotta go level up to 550 for no particular reason. I'm not.
The thing that got me about it, or that I noticed, is they're still saying that they want to make it easier to understand or more consistent or smoother to do. And I get the feeling that the crafting changes they implemented, which had those same goals, didn't get them to where they wanted to go, and now they're doing a new set of changes. Why it's going to 550 though, I don't know. Why there's new materials, I don't know.
Right. I feel somewhat the same. It almost feels to me like some of this stuff was in the dev backlog for 4.0 and they didn't get it done.
Maybe, yeah.
And now they're just finishing it up. Like, I mean, if you're going to go to 550, you probably were going to do it with the update to the level. Why do it 2 months later? So maybe they just didn't get it done.
Maybe they thought, well, we don't want to distract people from doing chapters 1 through 9 with having to skill up all their crafts on all their alts. And now in February, they're thinking, well, we have to give people something to do.
Maybe. So we'll see what they do.
Knows?
It supposedly is relatively big changes. They were talking about pages and pages of design notes. and multiple blog posts that they expect are going to be needed to explain all of it. So we'll see. They also talked about the January, February sub rewards. We all know all about this already, though. What was... Oh, someone in Guild was saying you could RP that you scraped HK55 off the ground and used his spare parts to create a jetpack for yourself. Or that he's some sort of transformer and hops on your back and turns into a jetpack. So you got that to look forward to.
Especially he made the point that since your companions disappear when you mount up, that totally would work.
Now, if you're subbed by February 1st, you get that jetpack and you get that 2 days early access. So keep that in mind if you haven't subbed yet, but you're planning on subbing for the new content anyway. Sub that week early, and then you'll get those two things if you're interested.
Then they also talked a little bit about that NVIDIA contest. It ends this Sunday. And the contest is you use NVIDIA's recording technology, which is called Shadow Play. You record something in Knights of the Fallen Empire, and you submit it. And the way you submit it is you either tweet it out or you put it on Instagram, and you put the hashtag Build Your Alliances, and there's another hashtag. It's like win every game or win every time or something like that. And they commented that they're worth looking at. Some of them are very good, and the way you would find them it would be to either go to Twitter or to Instagram or both and just search for the hashtag Build Your Alliances. And if you enter, there's a chance to win some gaming PCs and some NVIDIA graphics cards. So it's worth a stab. Go for it.
Did you say you did go and check one of them out?
I started to, but then we had to start here. I was watching the bad lip reading one, and I watched about 30 seconds of it, and the first 10 seconds of it cracked me up. It had Darth Mar. You know that scene where Darth Mar is like RP walking down towards Valkorion?
Mm-hmm.
And they show Darth Mar going, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?"
Yeah, that's funny. I just watched the bad lip reading, the actual bad lip reading guys do Return of the Jedi, and that scene where Darth Vader and Luke are walking on Endor down the corridor and walking really slow, and Luke says, the bad lip reading over Luke says something similar, like, "Wow, we're walking really slow. If I walked myself, I would be there already." Something like that. So it'd be something similar. So that's cool. They did finally talk about the not finally, and they didn't talk too much about it. Let me back that truck up. They talked a little bit about the new war zone, and they said they gave a couple tidbits of information. It would be a King of the Hill type map, and it will be on Odessan. And they described it just a little bit, but they said you'll hear more about it in February, and it will be released within the next 6 months. So, a little more news. They're definitely working on it. It will be interesting to try it out. There are a lot of people looking forward to that. I hope they do get it out in 2 months or 3 months and not have to wait all 6 months to get it. And I do hope it shows up on the PTS. Get some testing in on that.
That sounds like, I mean, those are two pretty juicy details, that it's going to be a King of the Hill type game and that it's on Odessan. I mean, to me,
yeah,
I wasn't expecting a whole new game. Were you?
A whole new game type? Yeah, I was, because it was just, well, I don't know. I was probably dumb for expecting it. Because if it was just going to be another 4v4 map, that would have been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, right.
So I think it had to be another Warzone, another 8v8 Warzone game type. And if it was another, again, if it was another Hut Ball.
I take a King of the Hill type game means you capture the hill and then you defend it for a certain amount of time and a timer ticks down or something?
Yeah. Like you get points the longer you stand in the target area. So you have to defend that target area, and if the other players kill you and then they stand in there, then they're collecting points. However, or points are counting down, or however you want to score it that way. That's fun. That's a good different alternate game type, as you'd expect. Then, of course, they did talk about the Eternal Championship a little bit more, and they gave a lot of details. And then it sounds like they're still working a couple things out that are part of it, and that's probably why it's not going in Chapter 10. So it is a solo challenge event. You can do it with friends, but in order to qualify for the challenge, like the weekly achievement of the challenge, or I don't know if it's weekly mission rewards and progress.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like the influence gain to get Bodar, all of that's going to be based on solo attempts on this thing. And it's a series of 10 encounters, and you got to see how far you can get. And if you get up to, they think it's going to be something like you get rewards for getting to 5, you get better rewards for getting to 7, and you get the best rewards for getting through all 10. And then they talked a little bit about how hard it would be. Did you hear that part where they were saying, will it be hard for a veteran player, yes or no?
And the answer was yes and no?
Right.
Yes, I heard that part.
So it'll be yes, it will be easy for the first 5, and especially by round 10, it should be, well, the way they described it, which is the right way to describe it, it should feel pretty satisfying to get through round 10 for a veteran player.
Right. And I don't mind working on stuff. So like say 1, 2, and 3 are kind of easy, and then 4, 5, and 6 are, require focus, and then you get to like 8 and you can't do it, and then you realize, well, okay, well, I got to go finish out my gear, or I got to finish out my companion influence, or I need to do this other thing, or I need to look at my rotation and make sure I'm getting everything out of it that I can, or maybe I should be using my heroic moment more, or I think that stuff is all good.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. I'm excited to have it in the game. Back to our original point of would I rather have an operation or this? Yeah, I'd rather have an operation. But I want things like this in the game too. I want more of this kind of fun content on the side. So I'm happy to get it. I like the idea of a challenge, and I like the idea of having to learn your class really well and use all your abilities. I hope it is pretty hard, but I feel like I'm a pretty hot shot player, so I
hope there's good rewards for it, and I hope it's not just crystals.
So they put up the thread that discusses this Eternal Championship, and they asked for a couple things. How hard do you think it really should be? And what kind of rewards do you think you should be getting for 5, finishing 7, finishing 10? And they threw it out there of maybe if you get finishing through 10, you get operation level gear. So what would you want to see as rewards then, Seema?
Well, not crystals and not gear, because I do operations, so that would not motivate me in the least.
Especially not crystals. Please, no more crystals.
Especially not glowing crystals. But pets, mounts, decorations, maybe cosmetic, maybe gear with special looks, then maybe. Maybe unlocks, like for a cosmetic, change to your looks or whatever. Maybe, that kind of stuff. I mean, because operations gear, no. No.
Right. Unless it's tokens with set bonuses. I would take set bonus tokens because those are a pain to get. For me, for some reason, I don't know, maybe I'm just not rolling need enough. I don't have...
Maybe. I don't... Yeah, relics, maybe. Relics would be...
I finally just got rid of my 198 relic tonight on my mercenary, and I think I'm still only sporting I think I'm up to a 4-piece set bonus now. Actually, my character's naked, so I can't check right now.
So it's hard to know.
You lost.
Yeah, I have four-piece bonus on my merc. And I think I have like a 208 and a 224 relic. Something like that.
And those set bonuses on my tank, my power tech, which I tank with almost once a week now in Mandatory Fun Night, I've got a 4-piece set bonus, but it's all with 198 pieces. And then I've got like 220 mods and enhancements underneath them. But
right.
I maybe I just need harder.
I guess what I'm saying is maybe not that they shouldn't put gear in it. I'm just saying when I'm thinking about what I want to play tonight, that would not motivate me to go do Eternal Championship. I may want to do it anyway just because it's fun. We'll see.
And you'll want to do it probably once to get, or however much to get Bodar maybe. They did throw out there.
I already have way
drop.
too many companions.
Well, true. What do you think they mean by rare drop?
I don't know. I think they probably mean gear.
I think they mean like mount. They have that.
That would be nice, yeah.
Because there's a rare mount that drops from Star Fortress off the Exarch. So you could go get that.
Well, that would be good. I would like it to be a mount or a pet or a toy.
A toy. Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, a toy. Or, gosh, I would even do it for emotes.
That's interesting. Why don't emotes drop anywhere? That like a Wookiee, a crazy Wookiee emote. That make it a themed thing. Make it some sort of gladiator challenge emote.
Even emotes that are just rare now. Like if it was, I would do it for the PB&J
peanut butter jelly time
dance emote. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. Do it for that.
Or the Revan statue. I mean, I have that, but I mean, someone who doesn't have it. Or Dr. Ogorub.
Yeah, exactly. Which I have those guys. So there. Well, I guess we should respond in that thread, and anyone can.
Yes, I guess so.
Go to that thread, describe those rewards that you want, and how hard you think it should be. I don't think you should have to have 224 gear to complete level. All 224 min-maxed gear to complete level 10. To complete 10 rounds. But ops level gear to 208, 216, and know your class to complete 10 rounds and have to use all your abilities. Do interrupts and defensive abilities, defensive cooldowns, and all that kind of thing. I think that's reasonable.
I would like to not have to change my spec, but I realize that's probably not reasonable.
Oh, right, as a healer.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. So, well, I don't know. Well, there you go. Post that in the thread too. And then with that, they wrapped it up, and they reiterated that in 2 weeks, Charles Boyd is going to be doing a story stream that will follow this, and they plan on that being the cadence monthly, that they'll do a producer stream and then a story stream 2 weeks later. They reiterated that the NVIDIA contest ends on Sunday, so get your funny videos or cool videos or awesome videos submitted. I think there's 10, there's like 11 prizes, the top one being a nice rigged, decked out PC, and then 10 video cards of the high-end, their newest high-end video card. They reiterated they've got those 2 forum posts out there, so go check those out. And they reiterated that they will be back next month. So to sum it up, Seema, what's your summary for this particular stream?
I liked the tone of it. I liked Ben Irving. I liked that it was a little bit more businesslike than the sort of goofy ones in the past. They did stray off into the goofiness when they were talking about the new PvP. What kind of game type is it, where they asked the chat room to guess, and they wouldn't say what it was until at least 5 people guessed right. I'm like,
Right.
no,
Just
just skip that part.
yeah.
But there was less of that than there has been in the past, so I kudos for that, I guess.
They didn't
So yeah,
hype it up for the last week,
yes.
saying that this
Thank
is
you
going
for
to
that.
be the most amazing, game-changing, epic epic producer stream
Yay, new
ever.
companion. But yes, so I liked the same thing you liked, which was let's let the players decide whether or not it's awesome.
Yeah,
Which I like I said, I like the tone of it, and I hope they keep it up. I would listen to it every time if they would. So
I agree. Will it be awesome? Awesome? I'll be the judge of that.
that's right. I'll be the judge of that.
All right. I think with that, our EPC 126 droid here is ready to head out and jump in the escape pod. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight on newoverlords.com, iTunes, YouTube, or live on Twitch. We will stream again next Monday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 10:30 p.m. Central. Please follow us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA. And come find us on Jedi Covenant and ask us for an AIE Guild invite. We would be glad to have you. We will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.